Well, hello. Thanks for coming back to check out another video. So, we are here today to sit down and talk about the six eyeshadow palettes that I would like to strive to reach and pull out for the summertime. I feel like a lot of people do this and maybe they call it like the top 10 palettes of the summer. So it's kind of like along that same vein, but just for me personally, these are the ones that I want to pull out and get a lot of use out of in the summer. I did film a video similarly to this back in the springtime, so I'll leave that linked above and down below just in case you guys want to see it. I think I have one repeat palette from that video, but it is just such a great palette for like spring and summer. We'll get into it. It has a lot of bright, fun colors. But either way, if this all sounds interesting to you, then just sit back and let's get right on into it. Okay, so I do think this is the one that I referenced in my spring video, but I'm not quite sure. I didn't watch that or like look at it before I sat down to film this one. But either way, this is from ColourPop, so this is their Lush Life palette. This got released sometime last year, I believe. This is just so pretty, so bright, so fun. So I think you can see why it would be a great palette for spring because it does have a lot of these like nice greens and like softer yellows up here. But for summer, these like redder shades down here, they really go so nicely. The blues and this dark green and then these shimmers right here. So it's really like this little six pan right here that makes me think of summer, and that's why I want to like strive to pull this out more and reach for it more. I really appreciate the blue shadows within this palette. I feel like this is the pop of blue done right. Much like how in the Limoncello palette it's done wrong. Like this one, this particular blue goes so well with so many of these other colors, so you're not like sitting there staring at it like, well, what do I do with this? So I will, to make this video a little bit more fun, give you some swatches of like some of the shades within this palette. So let's do the shimmer shadows because they really are that great ColourPop formula. Now, to be fair, I do have like some lotion on my hand, so if some of my swatches look a little bit off, like that's why. It's just the lotion on my hand. But yeah, this like green shade up here is one of my absolute favorite green shades, and it's kind of like a nice limey metallic green, and I just don't feel like that's a color that I have a lot within my collection. So yeah, ColourPop Lush Life is one palette that I would like to reach for more this summer. All right, let's talk about a palette where when I open it, you might be like, really? Summertime? So this comes from Nabla. This is the Dreamy 2 palette. And like I said, when I open this, I think you're gonna look at this and be like, that screams more like fall and winter. And it does to me too, especially because of like the blues and the purples in here. This Lucid Dream shade is like a really, it's like got a white base, but like a gold flip to it. And then like these darker shades down here, just overall the palette does very much have a winter vibe. However, every once in a while in the summertime, I love to do a bronzy eye look. It's not like something I do a lot of, but I do really like it. And this palette has some of the best bronzy shades for doing those types of look. So this Libertine shade right here is hands down like my favorite bronzy shade that I have like just across the board within my collection as a whole. It's just really flattering because I feel like sometimes with these bronzy shades, they go a little too warm and then I just feel like they don't look right on my complexion. But this one doesn't really pull too warm, and I feel like since we'll say it's more on like the neutral side, you can pair this with just like a neutral tone crease, or you could put something really fun in your crease like an orange or like a purple even, and I feel like it's gonna go really nicely with that. So it kind of like, you can make the bronzy eye look like a little bit more interesting and out of the box rather than just like a standard neutral bronzy eye. All right, so the next palette that I want to talk to you guys about comes from BH Cosmetics. Now that I'm sitting here and I have this out, I think this might have been in the spring eyeshadow video too. But either way, this is from their Sweet Shop collection. This is the Cherry on Top palette. So this is their monochromatic red palette that they came out with. Now I will say, every shadow in here is quite lovely. I really do enjoy this formula. They blend out so nicely. These red shades down here though, once you put them on your eye and you start to blend them out, they do take on a little bit more of like a pink vibe to them rather than red. But I have found that if you deepen them up with the darkest shade in here, it helps them to retain a little bit more of that redness, but they will turn a bit more berry, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. But anyway, it's really the shimmer shadows in here that stand out to me, like especially these first three. I did swatch out these first two on my hand, but I'll swatch out this one too. These first three shimmer shadows within this palette just give me like juicy watermelon vibes, you know? Like I'm here for it. It's my favorite fruit to eat, especially in the summertime. Put you some salt on it and ooh, so good. But yeah, it's just really fun to play with these. I really love this lighter pink shade too, like putting that on like more of the inner portion of my eyelid and then fading it into this other kind of red golden shimmer shadow. They just pair really nicely together, and typically pinks and red shimmers like that aren't shades that I would pair together. I would pair mattes like that together and like get the, like use the pink to help blend out the red. But the shimmers, it never like occurred to me to put them together until this palette, and I've just really enjoyed playing around with it. At the back of my hand is getting quite red, so we will switch to like arm swatches. So I do have two palettes from Natasha Denona that I would like to reach for more in the summer. So this first one has reflective packaging. It is the Zendo palette here. I feel like this is a really fun color story because you have like the warm tones as well as the cool tones over here, and mixing them together has just been so much fun. Now I'm not gonna lie to you guys, the cool tone side of this palette will forever have my heart and be the more favorite side for me personally, but I have enjoyed using some of these shadows from over here, and especially to do more of those bronzy type eye looks like I mentioned when talking about the Nabla Dreamy 2 palette. So like this golden shade up here, Luster, this kind of like peachy shimmer shade, Aura, and then this Yama shade down here are just some of like the most pretty intense shimmer shadows that I have ever gotten to play with. And I know some people complained about the Zendo palette, like that it was a little bit lackluster, and I will say these shimmers are more on the muted side. Like I think you can tell even in the swatch, like they're just darker, but they're still like really impactful and fun to play with. So I don't know why this palette got like such a bad rap, but yeah, it is one that I would like to strive to reach for more. Alright, so the other Natasha Denona palette that I want to try to reach for more in the summer, this really is just a great all year round palette. Like I think I might just keep this out on my vanity all year round, but it's the Metropolis palette. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought this was being discontinued and it left, but I had to look up this palette for another video I was doing, and on her website, I think this is back. So either way, that if you've been pining after this and you want to purchase it, like I guess you still can. It's not discontinued. Now I do want to say I dropped mine and a bunch of the shadows fell out on the floor, but nothing broke, surprisingly. So if my color story looks a little bit different, I tried to get it back as best as I could, but I might not have put everything exactly back into the right place. Either way, I think you can tell like my heart is here with this half of the palette. This is just like my comfort zone of like great yellows and green shades. But I am starting to play around and explore more with this side of the palette, and it's this side of the palette that really gives me the summer vibes for right now. This red shimmer shade is super pretty and fun to play with, and then this like orangey golden one next to it. And then also this palette does too have some of my more favorite bronze shadows, but I will say like I will swatch this one out for you, but this shadow right here that I'll swatch last is one of those more kind of golden yellowy bronzy shades, and it's one that I struggle to reach for because I feel like it never looks quite right on my skin or like with my complexion. So it's this shade right here is the one I'm talking about, where it takes on more of like that golden color, and I'm not a huge fan of like gold jewelry and things like that, so it makes sense that this would be a color that I kind of like stay away from. But seeing it swatched out with the red and the orange here, I wonder if I could do like a really pretty look where you start out with this more orange shade because it's the lightest, fade it into this yellow gold, and then end with the red in your outer V. Maybe that's something that I will have to try. Well, I am just covered in like glitter or like shimmer particles now. But either way, one more palette to talk to you guys about. So this palette has quickly become just one of my top favorite palettes. This is the Heather Austin palette that she did in collaboration with Adept Cosmetics. I feel like, again too, this is one of the great palettes that I could leave out and have fun with all year, because you've got like some of these like nice green tones for like spring. You've got these darker like more neutral shadows that could work all year round, and I mean the green shadows too could work all year round. Let's be honest, I rock a green eye in the winter time. But you have like this Smith shade and Video Chat are these like duochromes that go from like green, orange, red. So I feel like those are super fun for like the summertime. And then some of these like more bluey purple shades, great for wintertime. You've got 2 shimmer shadows up here that are on the more neutral side. I've just really enjoyed playing around with this palette. I'm sure I won't ever be able to successfully get any of the like shiftiness on camera, but that video chat shade that I swatched out right here definitely gives me like Electric from Subculture vibes, just with the way the green shift that it has to it, and then as it fades into the red, like it just has like a lot of limey goodness. I know Electric wasn't really like a duochrome shadow, but this does definitely give me like the vibes of that. And then another shadow that I've just been loving, it's not really like a summer shadow, but it's this 0603 shade. Ooh, did I get that on my shirt? I don't know. It's the 0603 shade. It's just a great like neutral kind of taupey purple shade. Really fun to like play around with that one. And then the other like duochrome shadow that I've been having a lot of fun with is Scrubs, which is like a blue to purple shift to it. Like I said, I don't know if that'll pick up on camera, but I just have a lot of fun with this palette, and I'm really glad that I added it into my life. So that's it. Those are the palettes that I would like to strive to reach for more as we head into the summer season. Let me know down below what your top like favorite summer palette is. I thank you guys so much for sticking around and putting up with my shenanigans, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.